Have you ever wondered if someone is being completely honest with you about their feelings? You know, when you ask someone how they're doing and they say fine, but their tone says anything but? We've all been there. Understanding these subtle signs is like having a secret decoder ring for your relationships. In this video, we're going to dive into 6 common phrases we hear all the time, especially from women, that might actually be masking their true emotions. This is about those little white lies we tell, sometimes without even realizing it, to avoid conflict or protect ourselves. By the end of this video, you'll be able to spot these phrases from a mile away and, more importantly, know how to respond in a way that builds trust and strengthens your relationships. Because who wouldn't want to be a mind reader, right? Okay, maybe not a mind reader, but at least someone who can understand what fine really means. 1. I'm fine, the universal code for something's up. We've all heard it, and we've probably all said it. It's a phrase that rolls off the tongue so easily, yet it can carry so much weight. That one little phrase, I'm fine, can be so loaded, it's practically carrying emotional baggage. It's like a suitcase packed with unspoken words and hidden feelings. It's like the go-to response when you don't want to talk about your feelings, but your face is about to betray you. Your eyes might be saying one thing, but your mouth says another. You know that look. The tight smile, the slightly raised eyebrow, the eyes that could launch 1,000 ships. Think about it. It's a universal expression that transcends cultures and languages. You forget to pick up your partner's dry cleaning, the one they desperately needed for that important meeting. It's a small mistake, but it feels monumental in the moment. You walk in, bracing yourself for the storm, and what do they say? I'm fine. But the tension in the air is palpable, but you can practically hear the unspoken words hanging in the air. You forgot the dry cleaning, didn't you? The one I specifically reminded you about 5 times this morning? It's not just about the dry cleaning. It's about feeling heard and valued. The key here is to pay attention to the delivery. The words might be the same, but the tone and body language tell the real story. Is it said with a genuine smile and a relaxed tone? Or is it clipped and short, accompanied by a look that could curdle milk? The difference is crucial. If it's the latter, chances are fine is just a placeholder for a whole lot of other feelings. Feelings that are bubbling just beneath the surface, waiting to be acknowledged. So the next time you hear I'm fine, don't just take it at face value. Dig a little deeper, show that you care. Look a little closer, listen a little harder, and be there for the person who might be struggling to find the words to express what they're really going through. Sometimes the most important conversations are the ones that aren't spoken aloud. 2. It's not a big deal, the great emotion minimizer. This phrase is a classic example of what I like to call emotional downplaying. It's a way people often use to minimize their own feelings or the feelings of others, sometimes without even realizing it. It's like taking a giant inflatable Godzilla of feelings and trying to stuff it into a tiny little clown car. The emotions are still there, but they're being squeezed into a space that's too small to contain them. When someone says it's not a big deal, they might be trying to convince themselves as much as they're trying to convince you. It's a coping mechanism, a way to avoid confronting the full weight of their emotions. They could be feeling overwhelmed, hurt, or disappointed, but they're trying to brush it off, pretend it doesn't matter. This can be a way to protect themselves from vulnerability or from feeling too exposed. Maybe they don't want to rock the boat, or maybe they're afraid of seeming overly sensitive. They might worry about being judged or not being taken seriously. Imagine this. You've been planning a romantic getaway for weeks, pouring your heart and soul into every detail. Every moment of the trip has been carefully thought out to make it perfect. You're so excited to surprise your partner with this amazing trip. The anticipation has been building up, and you can't wait to see their reaction. But then, something comes up on their end, and they have to cancel at the last minute. All your plans suddenly fall apart. You're crushed, but you try to be understanding. You tell yourself it's okay, even though you're deeply disappointed. And what do they say? It's not a big deal, we can always reschedule. They might be trying to make you feel better, but it can feel dismissive. When someone downplays their emotions like this, it's important to create a safe space for them to open up. Encourage them to share their true feelings without fear of judgment. Let them know it's okay to feel things deeply and that you're there to listen without judgment. By doing so, you help them feel seen and heard, which is often what they need the most. 3. I don't care. The wall of indifference. 2 little words that can build a wall of ice between two people faster than you can say frozen heart. It's a phrase that can instantly create a chasm, making the other person feel isolated and unimportant. But here's the thing. More often than not, I don't care is a giant flashing neon sign that screams, I definitely care, and it's driving me crazy. It's a paradox, a contradiction that reveals more than it conceals. This phrase is like the ultimate defense mechanism, a way to protect ourselves from getting hurt or appearing vulnerable. It's a shield we put up to guard our true feelings. It's like saying, if I pretend I don't care, then maybe it won't hurt as much. It's a coping strategy, albeit a flawed one. But let's be real. We care about things. We care deeply, even if we don't always show it. Picture this. You're trying to decide where to go for dinner with your partner. It's a simple decision, but it can reveal so much about our emotional state. You suggest your favorite Italian place, but they shoot it down with a resounding, I don't care. It's not just about the food. It's about feeling heard and valued. You offer another option, and again it's met with the same indifferent response. The wall of indifference grows taller. What's really happening here is that they might be feeling overwhelmed with decisions, or maybe they're just having an off day. It's not always about you. Instead of getting defensive or taking it personally, try to break through that wall of indifference. Show empathy and understanding. Ask open-ended questions like, is there something else you'd rather do? Or are you feeling okay? You seem a little off. These questions can open the door to a deeper conversation. Sometimes all it takes is a little gentle prodding to uncover the real emotions hiding beneath the surface. It's about connecting on a deeper level and breaking down that wall of indifference. 4. Do whatever you want. The sound of silent frustration. Ah yes, this phrase. It's like the verbal equivalent of slamming a door, except instead of a loud bang, it's delivered with a quiet resignation that speaks volumes. Do whatever you want is rarely about you actually doing whatever you want. It's about feeling unheard, disregarded, or like their opinion doesn't matter. Imagine this. You're trying to make plans with a group of friends and you're throwing out ideas left and right, but every suggestion is met with a lukewarm, do whatever you want. You're starting to feel like you're planning this outing solo, and the excitement you initially felt is quickly fading. Instead of just going with the flow, take a moment to check in with the person who's giving you the do whatever you want treatment. Ask them directly, what are you in the mood for? Or, is there anything specific you'd like to do? Sometimes, all it takes is acknowledging their feelings and giving them a chance to express themselves to turn that silent frustration into genuine enthusiasm. 5. I'm just tired. The ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card for any emotional conversation. It's like throwing a blanket over your feelings and hoping they magically disappear by morning. Now, sometimes we really are just tired, but other times, tired is a stand-in for a whole range of emotions we'd rather not deal with at the moment. Think about it. You're having a disagreement with your partner, and just when things are starting to get a little heated, they say, look, I'm just tired. Can we talk about this later? Or maybe your friend has been acting distant and withdrawn, and when you ask them what's wrong, they simply say, I'm just tired. The key here is to pay attention to the context. Has your partner been working long hours lately? Has your friend been under a lot of pressure? If so, tiredness might be the real culprit. But if I'm just tired seems to be their go-to response whenever emotions run high, it might be a sign that there's something more they're not expressing. 6. It's whatever. 2 little words that can convey a whole lot of indifference, resignation, or passive aggression. It's like the verbal equivalent of a shrug emoji, but with a little extra sass thrown in for good measure. When someone says it's whatever, They're basically saying I'm over it, but not in a good way. Imagine this. You're trying to decide on a movie to watch with your partner, and after presenting several options, they reply with a disinterested, "It's whatever." You suggest another movie, and again, it's met with the same apathetic response. What's happening here is that your partner might be feeling unheard, or like their opinion doesn't matter. Maybe they've expressed their preferences before, and they feel like those preferences are being ignored. Instead of just going with the flow, take a moment to check in with the person who's giving you the "it's whatever" treatment. Ask them directly, "Hey, what are you in the mood for?" Or is there anything specific you'd like to watch? Sometimes all it takes is acknowledging their feelings and giving them a chance to express themselves to turn that indifference into genuine enthusiasm. So there you have it, 6 common phrases that might not mean what you think they mean. Remember, communication is about more than just words. It's about paying attention to tone, body language, and the unspoken feelings behind the words. The next time you hear these phrases, don't just brush them off. Take a moment to really listen and observe. You might be surprised at what you discover, and who knows, you might even be able to help someone feel seen, heard, and understood. Now go forth and decode those feelings.